Imagine a sprawling landscape under a golden sun, where rolling hills stretch toward the horizon, dotted with thousands of sheep grazing peacefully, their wool shimmering like stars against the green. Camels lumber across the plains in grand herds, their shadows stretching long in the fading light. Oxen plow fertile fields with steady strength, while donkeys carry loads with quiet endurance. This is the land of Uz, home to a man named Job, a man whose life overflowed with blessings. His estate was vast, 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 donkeys. But beyond his wealth, Job's true treasures were his 7 strong sons and 3 radiant daughters, whose laughter filled his home with joy. Each dawn, as the first light kissed the earth, Job rose to offer sacrifices for his children, praying, "Perhaps they have sinned in their hearts." He was a man who feared God and turned from evil, a beacon of righteousness in a world that admired his integrity. To his neighbors, Job was more than wealthy. He was wise, his counsel sought like water in a desert. His life seemed a perfect harmony of faith and prosperity, a living proof that God rewards the upright. But beneath this serene surface, a storm was brewing, one that would test every fiber of Job's soul. High above, in the courts of heaven, a council convened. Picture a throne room bathed in light, where God sat in majesty, surrounded by angels glowing with awe. Among them slithered Satan, the accuser, his presence a dark ripple in the radiance. God spoke, his voice steady, "Have you seen my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him, blameless, upright, a man who fears me and shuns evil." Satan sneered, "Does Job fear you for nothing? You've shielded him with blessings, his flocks, his family, his riches. Take it all away, and he'll curse you to your face." God, confident in Job's faith, replied, "Very well. All he has is in your power, but do not touch the man himself." With that, Satan departed, eager to unravel Job's world. On a day like any other, Job's children feasted together in the eldest brother's house, their voices mingling with the clink of cups. Suddenly, a servant burst in, breathless and pale. "The Sabaeans attacked," he gasped. "They stole the oxen and donkeys and killed the servants. I alone escaped." Before Job could process the loss, another stumbled forward, his face scorched with terror. Fire fell from heaven. It devoured the sheep and shepherds. Only I survived. A third messenger staggered in, trembling. The Chaldeans raided in 3 bands, took the camels, and slew the servants. I'm the only one left. Then, as Job's heart pounded with dread, a fourth arrived, his eyes brimming with tears. "Your sons and daughters were feasting when a mighty wind struck the house. It collapsed, and they're gone. I alone escaped to tell you. In an instant, Job's world crumbled. His wealth, gone. His children, silenced forever. The air grew heavy with grief as he tore his robe and shaved his head, signs of a heart shattered beyond words. He fell to the ground, dust clinging to his tears, and yet, from that broken place, he whispered, "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will return." The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised. Even in ruin, Job's faith held firm. He did not curse God. Satan returned to heaven, undeterred. Job still holds fast, God said, despite your attacks. Satan hissed, "Skin for skin. Strike his flesh, and he'll turn against you." God allowed it, saying, "He is in your hands, but spare his life." Soon, sores erupted across Job's body, from his feet to his head, raw, oozing wounds that turned his once strong frame into a shell of torment. He sat in ashes, scraping his skin with a shard of pottery, each movement a cry of agony. His wife, her own heart twisted by loss, approached him. "Are you still holding on to your faith?" she snapped. "Curse God and die." Her words cut deep, born of despair, but Job looked at her with weary eyes. "You speak like a fool," he said gently. "Shall we accept good from God and not trouble?" Even as pain consumed him, Job refused to blame God. His faith, though battered, stood unbroken. Word of Job's suffering spread, and 3 friends arrived, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar. Seeing him, a figure covered in sores, barely recognizable, they wept, tore their robes, and sat with him in silence for 7 days and nights. Their presence was a quiet comfort, a shared mourning for his unbearable loss. But when Job finally spoke, his words shattered the stillness. "May the day I was born perish," he cried, "and the night that said, 'A boy is conceived.' Why didn't I die at birth? Why is life given to the bitter in soul?" His lament echoed with raw pain, a man wrestling with the weight of existence itself. His friends, stunned, broke their silence. Eliphaz spoke first, "Job, you've guided others through hardship, but now trouble touches you, and you falter. Surely the innocent don't suffer, those who sow evil reap it. Repent, and God will restore you." Bildad added, "Your children must have sinned, that's why they died. Seek God, and He'll heal you." Zophar, blunt and harsh, said, "You think you're blameless? God knows your sin, He's sparing you worse." Their words, meant to help, stabbed like knives. Job's voice rose in frustration, you think you're the only wise ones. I know as much as you. I've lived righteously, why am I suffering? He defended his innocence, but his friends pressed on, certain his pain was punishment. Their debates grew heated, a storm of words that left Job more isolated, his faith trembling yet clinging to hope. Weeks dragged on, and Job's anguish deepened. How can a just God let the wicked thrive while I waste away? He demanded. They grow old in wealth, their children safe, while I'm crushed. He longed to face God, to plead his case. If only I could find him, I'd argue my innocence and hear his reply. But God remained silent, an absence that cut deeper than any wound. Still, Job declared, though he slay me, I will hope in him. I'll defend my ways before him, no godless man would dare. At last, the silence broke, not with comfort, but with power. A whirlwind roared across the land, dark and wild, and from it came God's voice, booming like thunder. Who dares question my wisdom with ignorant words? Stand up, Job, I will ask, and you will answer. Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation? Tell me, if you know. Who set its measurements, or stretched the line across it? Were you there when the morning stars sang and the angels shouted for joy? God's questions rolled on, a torrent of majesty. Can you command the dawn? Do you guide the constellations? Have you seen the ocean's depths or tamed the behemoth's strength? Can you bind the Leviathan, whose might defies all? Each word humbled Job, revealing his smallness before the Creator's vastness. His demands for answers dissolved into awe. I'm unworthy, Job whispered, hand over his mouth. I spoke of things I didn't understand, wonders too great for me. God pressed further. Would you discredit my justice to prove yourself right? Can your voice thunder like mine? Job fell to his knees. I know you can do all things, no plan of yours can be stopped. I repent in dust and ashes. God turned to Job's friends. You've spoken falsely of me, he said sternly. Take 7 bulls and rams to Job, he'll pray for you, and I'll spare you. Humbled, they obeyed, and Job, with a heart softened by grace, interceded for them. Then, in a breathtaking act of mercy, God restored Job. His wealth doubled, 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 donkeys. He was blessed with 7 more sons and 3 daughters, renowned for their beauty, a sign of God's favor renewed. Job lived 140 years, seeing 4 generations of his family, his life a testament to faith's triumph. His story became a beacon, shining through time. Job's journey teaches us a profound truth. Faith isn't tied to blessings, it's forged in the fire of suffering. He lost everything, yet never cursed God, showing that true trust endures when we don't understand why pain comes. Suffering isn't always punishment. Sometimes, it's a mystery within God's greater plan. Job learned that God's ways are higher, His wisdom beyond our grasp. And in the end, His mercy restores. So, when storms hit your life, hold fast like Job. Trust God's goodness, even in the dark. He sees your pain, walks with you through it, and promises hope on the other side.